G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Celtics and the Celtics and the Celtics, and I suppose we'll throw in some AFL fantasy chat in there as well. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Fighting the goal from inside the centre. Shade from the boundary. Dusty. Petty. Petrarca. Oh, wow. How good is that? The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast.
I already fucking touched my mic.
I'm swig.
It's fucking straight away. We didn't last 1 second.
Mate, I didn't even get my intro in there.
Sorry, that's.
I'm Mitch Case. You can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy. Joined as always by Luke Roger the Great. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm going good, mate. How about them Celtics?
Yes, let's go. Let's go.
You got the mug positioned nicely up there. You got,
this
I'm
way.
even inadvertently wearing my Celtics green.
Yeah.
Today, so
inadvertently, you're a closet Celtics fan now, mate.
Congratulations, mate. What do we think? Are we?
Mate,
surely the Heat fans are getting nervous.
Look, it's never been done before. 3-0. It's never been done before, but records are made to be broken, and anything is possible, as Kevin Garnett once said. So
I was thinking too, like if there was ever a time for it to happen, it's so the significant underdog went up 3-0.
Yes.
So you guys were the
they're
favourite
the 8
going
seed,
in.
we're a 2 seed.
That's
yeah.
it, and you've got Game 7 home court.
That's right. So this next game is going to be it, and so there's definitely some belief growing in the team, and
absolutely.
Fingers crossed. But we're not going to hear talking as much as I would love to, but we're not going to be talking here the Celtics. We're talking about the carnage round that is shaping up to be round 11.
Yeah, well, it's driven us to drinking. Really, it's pretty fucked up. No, I went to the fridge and I only had one beer there, so I've just basically grabbed everything that nobody ever wanted to drink that was sitting in the shelf. And I heard, well,
you're a drinking game, apparently.
I've found out that I'm a drinking game as well. Someone tweeted us saying that...
which is just epic, by the way.
I think that's how you know you've made it, isn't it?
I think so. I think that's
I'm a drinking game. So
Yeah.
apparently every time I touch my microphone, people are going to have a swig. So
Yep.
I've lined up a few beveraginos
Oh,
for
yeah.
us.
I might not have enough here.
We might have a crack. I think I'm already 0-1 so far.
If I miss anything, anyone on the live stream, make sure you alert us to the fact that Luke has touched his mic, and we'll all take a sip, and
it's below the table.
we'll see if we can walk out of here or if we are stumbling.
Yeah,
out of here.
this live stream could go for a while.
But like we said off the top here, we'll start the show off by reacting to the Thursday teams that dropped last night, and what a teams it was. We'll start with the rookies. Just names all over the place, omitted. I'm talking Will Gould, Campbell Chesser, The Mac, Kane Baldwin, Alwyn David Jr., Harry Sharp, all of them omitted. Chincotta didn't get named back in. Still have no fucking idea where Josh Fahey is.
You've already dropped an F-bomb. It's a big one. It's a big one.
What does the guy have to do, really?
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some conspiracy going on. I've got to put my tinfoil hat on because this guy's popped 160 in the VFL and he's not getting a game.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stuff that if you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah, well, yeah,
You know
exactly. And on top of that, JJ has been out injured. Oliver's gone. Josh Kelly is out injured as well. So we've already got forced trades, red dots everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just
shit.
it's shaping up to be a top.
Bales has noticed that I shaved the mow off. Thanks, mate. Mitch didn't even notice, and I'm his next door neighbour, so I appreciate that.
Mate, sorry, mate.
You know what a kid at school...
I'm just so focused on the fantasy.
You are, mate.
Yeah.
Well done, you. You know what a kid at school said to me?
What?
He looked at me and go, You look ugly without a moustache. I took it
Got
as
that, mate.
I was a bit of a compliment. It means I didn't look ugly before, so...
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking. I took it
All
the positive.
Spin it however which way you want to, mate. But
It's coming back. I don't know about it.
yeah, so I guess, if we with the Thursday night, with the teams and everything like that, the thing to take away, though, is that we're all going to be in the same boat.
Yep.
I think I saw a tweet from Selby or something like this, that of the top 100 teams, before trades, every team in the top 100 is averaging 5.5 red dots in their team. So
that's a lot for the top 100.
And they're the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if they're struggling, the players or the teams further back are also struggling. So if you can put yourself in a more advantageous position than that. You have the opportunity to take a leg up, but whilst previously, I've been a preacher of like, get the best upgrade you can, trade out, cut these rookies early if you need to.
Yep.
I think that changes this week going into the bye rounds, and that's what makes it different than any other week, is because we're very close to having to use all these rookies that are typical on our bench.
Yeah.
We're going to have to put them on field next week. So,
well, you mentioned Selby there, and I think I was reading that in all of his successful years, he's used this week as an opportunity to fix up red dots, and when the GOAT speaks, we listen.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
We'll talk about it a bit more later, won't we? But
I've typically used round 12 because, round 12 is like that awkward round where some people are on their buys, others you're trading into haven't yet had their buy. So it's a bit of an awkward week. I usually use that. You've got the 3 trades, but this year, I think definitely this is the round to do it. And you might have to do it again next week as well. We might have like 2 or 3 rounds of red dot rookie fix-ups just to make sure the buys are all sweet. And then in rounds 13, 14, 15, we can make those big upgrades. So
there's definitely going to be some moving and shaking, isn't there, through the buys?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You want to be prepped for it, for sure.
We'll be hanging out for that. The other last thing for the Thursday night teams is just a couple of rookies on our extended benches in Blake Drury and Darcy Wilmot on the extended benches, not confirmed in there. I feel confident about Wilmot. Drury.
Surely Drury gets the chop.
Zero confidence at all.
The Drury's out.
The Drury's out of there. He was subbed out as well on the weekend. So
for like a 14 or something?
Something terrible. So that's never a good sign. And even if he is there, his break-even's 31. He's averaging 30. So he's averaging less than his break-even is. So it's not our great white hope savior at the moment. So
a little bit of chaos too. I think we've dodged most of the premium chaos, but people with JJ and Clary and Kelly are riddled with bullets. So we'll see what happens.
So, with all that said,
let's
talk about some, I'm calling these downgrade targets,
okay,
but they could also be sideways targets as well, or even potentially upgrade targets from your basement price red dots. So, number 1, I think this week is George Wardlaw, the accountant. He brought numbers last week,
the numbers.
And I think he's going to continue to bring numbers, and he looks like the guy with the best job security. He also has an excellent role in a team where I don't see him moving from that role.
Let me put you on the spot. When in a year like this, when a guy like him presents himself, do you have to jump on this week?
That's the question that I've heard circulating around a lot of the week, and a few different podcasts about different thoughts. I personally think I would be prioritising getting a Wardlaw, even if it means missing out on some of these other guys I'm about to go through, and like a Humphrey, a Weddle, a Hobbs, and those guys that are good picks and will increase in price a lot themselves, but we also don't know what's going to come next week.
Yeah.
There might be more carnage, and I would just prioritise getting in the guy that I think is going to be the biggest cash maker. He's got the last buy round, so he's going to get you all the way through, and you're going to trade him off at round 15. So for me, he's the priority. And of all those players that I've listed, he's probably got the best role. He's an inside mid, and I think he's going to continue to be an inside mid. So I do think that he is a this week trade.
Yep.
I personally would be recommending not trying to finesse your way, getting those other guys and trying to get him next week.
Yep.
That's my personal view. I've heard others say, say different and say you can get like a Humphrey, for example, before him and go him next week. It could very well be the play if Wardlaw comes out and scores poorly. I could definitely see that, but I would just feel better knowing that he's in my side, and I'll figure the rest out later.
Would you say that anyone who traded him in last week is a genius, or would that be too far, do you think?
Jesus, mate, come on.
Sorry, that's me. Yeah, no, I would give him genius.
Pat yourself on the back a little bit harder next time.
Well, I mean, I'll dislocate my shoulder, pat myself on the back so hard.
Yeah, no, look, good trade. Hats off to you, but
at least we can watch him together this week, and we'll both be happy about his
absolutely, scoring. And I won't be, hoping that they hold him out when he's going down to the room for that assessment.
I'm telling you, hoping for concussions.
No, not hoping for concussions. Just if there is a knock to the head,
you're a sicko, mate. Karma's going to get you.
But now I say, play the man. Any knocks to the head, no assessments anymore. Get him out there. But number 2, I do have Bailey Humphrey from the Gold Coast Suns. I think he looks secure in that team. Round 13 bye. I think is still a positive thing.
Yeah.
That round 15 bye does look very scary, especially with the amount of red dot rookies we've got at the moment.
Yeah.
So he's someone, I think they've got a back-to-back games in Northern Territory, I want to say.
Yeah, slippery up there. Did you see they had the soap out at training?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, playing with soapy balls.
Hang on.
Whoa.
No.
Hold on.
You sicko. We used to do that at training. We used to get the soap out.
Did it work?
No, we still suck.
Okay.
No, when we used to go up to the NT Alice or up in Darwin, we'd have the soapy footies out. So I don't know how much it helps.
Yeah, well, Bales loves the hump bear. I think he is number 2, and I am looking to trade him in next week. After saying last week that I think he was too expensive, I just waited for him to go up another 55k or so, and now I'm getting him in. But I think he is a good player to get. So
would you?
I think top 2 there. I think they're clearly ahead of the other guys in my opinion.
Okay, I've got a question for you, but I'll save it till a little bit later.
Okay. Number 3, Josh Weddle from the Hawks.
They play the Saints this week too.
Yeah, they do play
and
the Saints.
He waxed last week. It was like 28 and 2 goals or something.
Yes. The only thing that puts a little flag on that asterisk is like GWS played the Saints last week. My great white hope was that the Mac Fleeton was going to do something all right. Obviously did nothing. And a lot of those defenders didn't do anything either in Ash, Whitfield, although he was off for a bit getting assessed.
Yeah.
Maybe the Saints are slightly changing it up a little bit, and also the fact Hawthorn, they still are a poor side. I think, they obviously beat West Coast by 100 plus points. That's not going to be the case pretty much any other week. So I think that of those 3 guys, he's got a low break even, but comparing him to like a Humphrey, who's like a similar price, I have more confidence in his scoring ability compared to a Weddle for Hawthorn. But he is another good option with the low break even that should make you a bunch of money.
You've also chucked a couple more on the list. So you've got Lachlan McAndrew, Ruckman from the Swans, and then Johnson's the Freo fella, hey?
Yes. So the issue with those 2 boys, they're both round 12. Now, I think that they could potentially have some level of job security. Matthew Johnson, I also like his scoring potential and potential role, but he's closest to the edge of his team of all these guys, and probably the biggest sub-risk.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I've heard about him, is that he's more of a sub-risk.
So I prefer these 2 being guys you get in round 13 if they're there, because they'll be coming off their round 12 bye, but I've just put them in there. There's not many good options, really.
This is the thing.
That's the trouble.
And we'll discuss it a little bit later as well, but it's just, everyone's talking about buy strategy and stuff. Okay, you get through, you trade down to rookies who are coming off their buy, and where are the rookies?
Where are the rookies? Yeah.
Show me the rookies. Are they hiding in the cover?
Yeah.
Like, what's
like
going
that John
on?
Travolta meme. You walk in, it's like, where are they, mate?
There's nothing going on here, so I don't know what to do.
Best of a bad bunch. So I think those top 3 are where I'd be shopping. The top 2 are the guys I have out in front. With Weddle there, if you already have... and I'd be trying to get all 3 of those guys if you can. So say you've dodged the bullets like us.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm doing a bit of a double sideways move, getting in Wardlaw and Humphrey.
Yep.
Say you already got Wardlaw in last week.
I was even thinking Humphrey. And,
like geniuses like yourself. Then you could maybe go Weddle and Humphrey, because cash is going to be king even after the buys when we're making those luxury trades, because compared to the last couple of years, I think finishing our teams is going to be more difficult than it has been.
Now, we kind of discussed a few downgrade targets there as well, but like you said, there's people who have been hit with premium bullets this week, and they might be looking for upgrade targets, or even swapping premium to premium. Who are we looking at in terms of defenders? So
defenders, I'm going to go through today. I'm going to give you the best option on every buy, in my opinion. Some of them I've got 2, and I'm going to throw it over to you because I'm a bit split. Some of them are at different price points. So on round 12, if you're looking for a round 12 defender, I think Jack Sinclair is your number 1 target. Last week we spoke about Hayden Young. He kind of scraped his way to an 80-plus score last week. Jack Sinclair, on the other hand, went 140, reminded us of his ceiling. So I think he's a good target this week. Break even, I believe, is lower, so he will go up in price.
87's his break even, and like you said, coming off that big score. The other thing too with him is he's down 80k on his starting price. So if he can get back to those heights, then you're looking at a lock away defender, and you're looking at him reasonably cheap.
Versus Hawthorn's a good matchup.
Yeah. Do we think that rolls back and that he's locked in there, or do we think
I still have my doubts. He was 103 averaging defender from memory last year. I don't know if he's going to get that high, but he could get close to that high 90s, maybe crack 100.
The narrative
if he goes on a big run.
Again, the narrative's weird, but like he's coming off 79, 72, 141.
Yeah.
So
why? Yeah. Like, why did he go off the chain? Obviously,
exactly.
He kicked 2 goals, but look, sometimes those are just the fluctuations you have in a fantasy season. But I just do think that he's just a great player. I think he's moving out of the midfield now, which I think for him is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So the more I see him playing that half-back role, getting more of those kick-ins, which we saw more last week, I think that's better for him. So if that trend continues, I think that he can get close to that 100 average.
Yep.
Round 13 by Tom Stewart. We've talked about him all season, so not too much to discuss here. Round 14, James Sicily for the Defenders. We spoke about on the podcast on Monday about that comment after the game about his role. That could be very interesting, and he is versing the Saints. So could be a big one this week.
They could be 200.
Some people are even talking about him as a captain option. Don't know if I'll go that far when we're talking about the big boys later, but he could be instant reward.
Oh, yeah.
And, so he's a good one there.
How good is it when you hear comments like that, hey? Yeah. It's just like the perfect fantasy comment.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, fuck, that's good.
I don't have to defend. I'll just worry about getting fantasy points. Yeah, it's good comments.
Yeah.
Round 15, I've got 2 guys here, different price points. So I think they're both good options for round 15 buys for a defender. Sam Doherty, I think, is just the ultimate pod at this point in the season.
How weird is that to say?
Yeah, but he was this time last year as well.
I recall that.
And this is a guy that I had targeted off. He had around 12 buy last year. Yeah. And so I made sure I moved heaven and earth to have the cash there to get him in. And it was one of my better trades of the season. Set me up really nice for the run home. This time, however, because he's got that around 15 buy, I feel like it's a tougher sell because I feel like we're all going to struggle on that round. Yeah. But if you can make it work, he is a guy that's going to be difficult for a lot of us to get to in the back half of the season. And then Bailey Dale is someone I also really like with the JJ injury from the Bulldogs.
I like Bailey Dale as an option. Yeah. He's a lot cheaper than the other guys that you just spoke about. And like you said, that rolls there. He's just a good football player too.
I think he's a great football player, yeah.
So JJ out for the foreseeable future. Dale slots into that role. The good thing as well is the Dogs are playing good football recently. And we always like that in terms of like roles being consistent. So I don't mind that as a trade this week, Bailey Dale.
He's playing the Gold Coast Suns at TIO Stadium up at the Northern Territory. But after that, he has 5 games at Marvel in a row.
Yeah.
And then 6 out of his next 7 games are also at Marvel. So a lot of home games under that roof, which is perfect for defenders. And I think that, like you said, I think he's just a great footballer. I also agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Midfielders.
Who we got?
Number 1, round 12. I like Lachie Neale. There's a few actual options here.
Yeah.
You could throw in Steele as an option. You could throw in Andrew Brayshaw if you don't have him.
So Lachie Neale.
But I think Neale and the value and the fact that his lower break even means that if you don't get him in this week, he's going to go up in price.
What's he priced at in terms of average wise? Do you know that?
Let me answer that question for you.
Because over his last 6 games, he's got scores in there of 116, 119, 103, 117. Those are 4 of the scores. Keep that in mind.
It's priced at 96.
And then the other 2 scores, 70 and 67.
Yeah.
Makes you cringe a little bit. Yeah,
it's real highs and lows. Well, not even that highs, really. So 96 is his price tag.
Yeah.
In terms of a price at figure, 817,000. He is a guy that I think he can still be 102, 103 kind of a guy. I think he was 107 or 108.
Like from this point on?
Yeah, from now on.
Okay.
So I think he does present a bit of upside. I think they also have a decent run coming up, Brisbane. And I just kind of prioritise him because a lot of those other round 12 guys, you're kind of waiting for after their bye.
Yeah.
Steele, I have concerns still about his injuries.
Yeah.
I know we had a good game last
all of
week.
His injuries.
Yeah, name them all. Brayshaw is just really expensive, and I think coming into the buys, you still want to use that cash, considering all the red dots we have. Sarong, you could argue, is there as well, but again, I think Neale just presents a bit more value. Who else am I missing? I'm sure there's some other guys. Obviously, Mills is now injured. And I have more confidence with Neale compared to some of those other swan mids there as well. So,
what if you were looking for a premium on their round 13 buy?
It's Noah Anderson.
Yeah, only the two teams on that buy, so there's really not too much to choose from.
Yeah, he's come back down in price. I know people have been disappointed after trading him in like the last few weeks, but I still expect he was tagged against West Coast.
Yeah,
and had a lower score there, and I think again he'll do fine in those slippery conditions up north.
Do you see?
He'll tackle well.
Do you see? It's Xavier O'Neill. That's right.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's
done two decent tagging jobs in 2 weeks, and then see ya.
Yeah, well,
thanks for playing your role, son. Go fucking have a run.
It didn't help their team. It didn't. No. They didn't do very well on the team side.
Yeah, but that's less to do with him and more to do with the whole team, I think.
Yeah.
But round 14 buys, you got Rory Laird and Zach Merritt in there. I think Zach Merritt is the name on everyone's lips a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah. So Oliver to Merritt is a very popular trade, I think, this week.
And I think now that we know that O'Neill's been omitted, I think that's probably the obvious trade. I know you can't go back and get the 150 or whatever it was. 158. But there's still a decent run coming up, and he looks like he's just going to have his way with that midfield for the next.
So are you Merritt over Laird? In terms of, say you didn't have Merritt, obviously.
Is there a price difference? I
think they're very similar.
Okay, they're very similar.
Let me have a look. Merritt is 921 and Laird is 936.
Look,
a 15k difference.
I think I am still Merritt, but it's getting cold. It's cuddle weather.
Yeah,
it's cuddle weather, and
I think I'm Laird over Merritt.
But isn't that a weird thing for me to say at this point, Laird or Merritt, and what Laird did last week, and I'm still saying Merritt. So, look.
Well, what Merritt did last week.
Last year is what I'm talking about for Laird, but. I think you could flip a coin. Why are you Laird?
Well, I'm Laird just because I think he's a better player. I think he's going to be a better player for the rest of the season.
You think Laird's a better player than Zach Merritt? Are you talking football player? Or are you talking fantasy player?
Like, as he's going to average more.
I reckon Merritt's way better than Laird.
Yeah, I was talking more a fantasy sense.
Okay.
I think they're close, but yeah.
So you reckon he'll average more from this point?
I think he's less of a tag target. So that is in his favour. Like you said, it's getting cold. The cuddle weather's coming in. It was about this time last year that he's probably averaging maybe 109, 110 to this point, and then went bang after this.
Yeah.
And again, I think I brought this stat up last week, but if you take out that week 1 round, he's still averaging like 110 so far, Rory Laird. So
I guess he's a victim of what we're comparing him to, which is himself, isn't it?
That's right. So, and I think, look, I know Merritt has the matchup this week.
Yeah.
So he's the guy, if you want that instant reward, we'll talk about the big boys later. He's
Bales is enemy. Sorry, Bales. My apologies, mate. It's Laird all the way.
Big Rory Laird. I'm with you, Bales. I'm team Laird this week. I think I just think that he's going to average. He has the upside, whereas I don't think Merritt priced at. He's priced at 108. Merritt could do maybe 110. Is kind of like the upper ceiling of what I'm seeing averaging from here and out. Whereas Laird priced at 109, 110. He's got another 10 points, 20 points really that he can whack on top of that over the back half of the season, which he did last year. I know it's a little different, and I'm not expecting that, but
we've seen it from Laird, so there's confidence in that. Because I disagree in the fact that I think Merritt could average that as well in the right role, given the right circumstances. I think Merritt could go huge. This is a guy with an enormous ceiling, but I think you wouldn't be doing poorly if you went either option, would you?
Yeah, I think they're both good options. I just have a slight favour towards Rory Laird. And that's just my thoughts there.
Round 15, who are we talking?
Round 15, I've gone a cheaper option here in Jai Simpkin. I think he's a good trade target for people looking for a round 15, because if you're looking for a round 15 player, and in the midfield, it's tough for me to target one of those Uber premiums and pay a lot of money. I kind of would rather be getting a round 15 guy that I can then feel not too bad at trading at his round 15 buy. And Jai Simpkin is that kind of guy for me that I get him in now for 4 weeks, I trade him out as round 15 to someone else, and that can fix up my buys. I'm getting someone cheap that can help me until then.
I'm just reiterating your point, but I feel that he fits that mold perfectly, doesn't he? He's not going to drop you, fingers crossed, he's not going to drop you a 30 or 40, is he? But you're probably not going to keep him all the way through. What about forwards? It's a little bit more slim pickings up there, I would have thought. But what do we got?
Forwards, you got Errol Goulden, because there's no real other forwards outside of Dunkley, and everyone has him.
Yep.
Round 13, don't even bother. There's no forwards there unless you're talking about Humphrey B-Bear.
As a forward.
But he was in the downgrades.
Yep.
Round 14, there's a few interesting options here as sort of mid-prices. I want to get your thoughts. Ben Hobbs versus Caldwell versus Darcy Cameron as a bit of a unique play as a round 14 / ruck.
Yeah, Tom and Graham was a bit low last week, just building him back in. So do we anticipate that he's going to reach the scoring potential that he did last year?
I think he could. I think that, personally, I'm waiting until further into the bye rounds because I agree his time on ground is building. I think it will come up, but he's got a high 112 break even, so you don't need to jump this week. So I personally would wait and have a look. But who does he have next week in round 12? He's got the Eagles. So they're
known for really good ruckmen, aren't they?
Yeah, the best matchup in fantasy footy at the moment. He is definitely someone that I will be paying close attention to. Mate, is that a whole skull if you take your headphones off? Okay. Well, hopefully you can get that sorted so we can keep
Sorry, guys.
Here, mate.
Scull your drinks.
Yeah, scull your drinks. That's
pricks.
The new rule. But yeah, I think he is someone that at least should be on your radar. If you're a really bold person, you could go a week early. But what about Hobbs versus Caldwell?
Hobbs.
Hobbs, why?
I feel like over the next little bit, again, to just see you through the buys, I feel like Caldwell's role might be more subject to change potentially. Like we saw a role where he was in there kind of free to go about his business. I just feel like he's been used as a lockdown guy previously. True. Could that be a thing depending on who they're coming up against?
Yeah,
but I know there's been a lot of talk about Caldwell this week. What have you heard? What do you like?
I just the CBA breakdown is the thing that gets me thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now Caldwell
has shown he can score without CBAs. He's a thirsty gangster.
He has, and Caldwell is more expensive, which is why I probably still go Hobbs.
Yeah.
Just because they're both not keepers. They're both sort of guys to get you through the buys. So you might as well save the cash.
Yeah.
At least then you'll have a bit more cash to play with next week, and I think that's the tiebreaker for me. But Caldwell is an alternative option with a lot of people going Hobbs.
Yep.
If you want it to be a little bit different and still get the benefit of that unique and juicy run that Essendon have, Caldwell could be the guy that feasts. And I think he's going to have more CBAs, more of that inside time than a Hobbs. Whether or not he can capitalise on that like he did last week is a different story. But for the price, I still have Hobbs as my number one guy.
The question I was holding for you before was Hobbs or Humphrey. There's the price difference there because that's sort of where I'm at with mine. So I'm just...
Is it the same trade out?
Yeah. I was hoping Fahey was going to be named because then I could go right down to... to get to Hobbs,
What's that price difference?
To get to Hobbs and trade players that I'd be happy to trade, I'd have to trade... I'd have to bring in a 200k rookie on the other end. And, who the fuck is that? So I feel like I'm almost going to be forced to go to Humphrey to...
Yeah, I would slightly lean Hobbs.
Yeah, that was...
Just because of the run.
And early in the week, I was like, Fahey's popped out of 160. Yeah. I'm sitting pretty. I'm just going to trade Fahey down Hobbs. I'm all apples.
No dice.
This Fahey bloke must be a shit bloke around the club or something.
Yeah. Look, I think they're really close.
What you put your thumb on your beer for?
I was worried that the bubbles were going to come out.
I thought you were worried I was going to spike you or something. It's like what they teach you to do in the clubs.
No, I thought the other was going to come over the top. I think just because of the West Coast and North Melbourne back-to-back, like we saw players in Hawthorn go tons that would never dream of tunning up.
Yeah.
So I think that Hobbs is a guy that could feast at a matchup like that.
Fahey's been named a sub. What does this world come to, hey?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I don't want to do this anymore.
Maybe. Oh, jeez.
I'll throw the toys.
No, let's go. Come on. We got
sucks.
this. We got this, Luke.
Which of these disgraceful... Well, Canadian Club's not bad. Throw it out. Which one should I jump into next? Keep in mind, this one I dropped on the stairs coming up here, so it could be...
Open it away from the
it could be spicy when I open it. We'll see which one people want to jump into.
Round 15 bye for the forwards, Bailey Smith versus Zach Butters. This has been a debate all week for a lot of people. What are your thoughts? Who are you taking out of Zach Butters or Bailey Smith if you're choosing?
Is there a price difference?
Yes, Zach Butters is slightly more expensive, but it's very close. Let me bring him up. workshopping this one live. 836 for Bailey Smith. 842. So 7,000, 6,000.
The mentality is a little bit interesting here too, isn't it? Because the way people see Smith is they see him as a fallen guy that can go big and we can get him at the bottom. The way people see Butters who don't have him is, oh, look how much I've missed.
Look what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it's interesting to ask yourself that question, who goes more from here? If I was guaranteed that Bailey Smith's going to be in that high CBA, high time on ground role for the rest of the year, then I think it's Bailey Smith hands down.
Yep.
Is there a chance that in 2 weeks' time he gets absolutely bevoed and it looks like a terrible trade? Yes. So I think Butters has more certainty of role, but I think that Butters has a lower upside if everything goes right and more potential risk of injury, less potential risk of getting on the booger sugar and headbutting someone. However,
we've always got to take in the booger sugar risk. So
you must account for it, and that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I didn't account for the booger sugar risk, so maybe I rethink my thoughts. But I'm personally Bailey Smith over Zach Butters. Oh, you're safe, mate. What were you worrying about?
This is probably garbage.
I'm going Bailey Smith simply because Zach Butters he's more highly owned in the top 1,000. So if you're looking to move up rank,
garbage.
It's yeah. I don't know about those seltzers. Hey,
seltzers. It's like soda water or something.
Yeah, nah, not about him. But he's lowly owned, Bailey Smith. That is, and the guys who have traded in Zach Butters did it when he was under 700, low 700,000. So you're almost conceding a loss in that sort of a way.
But if you're if you're looking at the two of them now, you're just worried about what are they going to do for your team now, aren't you? Like,
yeah,
that's mentality.
Well,
for me.
if there was I agree with what you're saying. If I could say, yep, definitely this guy's I just think hands down this guy's. But I could make an argument either way, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's a tiebreaker in this situation.
So your tiebreaker is
go the pod.
I feel better and go the pod.
Go the pod. Go the upside. If it goes your way, Zach Butters goes into a tackle, smashes his shoulder. Touch wood, because I'm an owner. But then if you don't go him and go Bailey Smith, then you're going to get a big leg up.
Does your ranking change that? So let's say you're ranked 100.
It would.
Okay,
yeah.
So you'd go safer.
Yeah, I probably would, because I do have more...
Well, that's worth saying, I think, as well.
Fair, good point. Because I do agree with you that Zach Butters is probably more established for us, especially after what he's been doing. Like, he's like, it's him and Rosie are the number 1 and 2 guys.
He's so good,
Bailey Smith is definitely behind Libba and Bont. So, I guess if you're not top 500, top 1,000, I'd probably be going Bailey Smith.
Go the pod. Shit, we've talked about... Buddy,
God, we can waffle on. Let's go.
We should, buddy. You got some big boys going soon, don't you?
Well, yeah, but let's quickly have a look at these 5 o'clock teams.
We've fucked up the timing on this. Sorry, people.
That's all good, mate. It's our show. We do what we want. So let's have a look. Look at these 5 o'clock teams. Sunday squads. So we've got Harry Sharp is obviously admitted. So
just quietly, Harry Sharp. Coach comes out and says,
what a joke.
We just need to get the young fella some consistency. Subbed, dropped.
Yeah. See ya. What was that comment? Just keep your mouth shut. Like, you don't even need to say that.
Consistency in the Magoos.
Oh, no one bats an eye if you don't come out and say those comments. Yeah. But anyway. But it looks like Wilmot is in the team, so that is good. He has held his spot. Mate, you can't touch... Oh, and here he is. Blake Drury has been omitted, so he is out of there. So obviously that is another red dot for teams. And
why'd you make me trade Drury and you prick?
Week 1, at least I got him for his 50 plus, but anyway.
What have I got him for? Like 12 and 14 or something?
Yeah, terrible. The other game, not too much to speak about except for Travis Boak injured.
You said Wilmot was sweet.
Wilmot's in.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty whatever. Nick Floston out injured.
Is he?
Not good for the Ticks. But, okay. So those are probably the 2 biggest things. Nothing really else there to speak about. If I've missed something, though, let me know in the comments there. But
and Fahey sub, did that get announced on Twitter, or does that actually get announced on the AFL website as well?
I'll have to check Twitter. That might have been a Twitter thing, but I don't think the subs gets announced this far out. So someone has obviously just found that and tweeted it out. Let's go in to... my favourite segment here.
Sorry.
Yeah, just get your graphic ready.
Give me a sec.
Get your graphic ready.
Okay, let's go. Oh, you thought I wasn't ready. You've dropped the Kung Fu Fighting, you clown.
Kung Fu Fighting? No, we're talking big boys. Mate, I've had too many beers.
This guy.
Big boys. Number one. This was a late change when the teams were announced. But number one for me this week is the guy we talked about before, Zachy Merritt.
Pause for a second, because I've just seen, no word of a lie, guys, but at the top of this run sheet on the big boys, Mitch has written here, brag about my average captain score.
No, that's left over from when I was saying that I was averaging 120 plus, which I think
that's disgraceful.
I'm still around 120 plus on my
glad
average.
But glad you got your little brag in, mate. Well done. Sorry, Zach Merritt.
That was genuinely an accident, but I'll say that I'm doing awesome with my captains. But yeah, no, they're doing all right. Zachy Merritt. Up against West Coast, I just think he's going to feast. They obviously dropped the tagger. Jinby might still run with him. I still think that's a flag, but I think it's a big difference between Jinby going with him and like a dedicated tagger who we've seen hold guys to like sub 90 scores the past 2 weeks. So I think he is my number one target off the back of his 150. Still no Paris, still no Setterfield. He's going to be in the midfield at a high rate. So
no arguments there.
7:40 p.m. Number two, I have Andy Brayshaw up against Melbourne, who in the past we've kind of considered Melbourne a tough matchup, but I think they've been giving up a lot of points. Obviously highlighted by Zach Butters last week.
Yeah.
And the fact they don't have Oliver now, their midfield is just a little bit more, I guess, it's not as dominant as we would expect. And obviously Brayshaw is coming in. I think his last three is like 130 plus in terms of his form. So he gets the nod at number two. And number three is the highest I've had this player so far, Nick Dacos at North Melbourne. I nearly had him at number two, but there's a slight flag with a Bailey Scott running with him as a potential tag. Who, look, and we both watched this game. The tag, there was talk about a tag on Errol Goulden last week. And I think that the talk is he's going to do a similar thing, mate. Those beers, the seltzers are coming up, aren't they?
I can't keep them down.
But like, do you think we should be worried about a tag from North Melbourne for Nick Dacos? Because when I first looked at this list, I saw Nick Dacos versus North Melbourne, and my eyes lit up.
Just like juicy personified. Yep. He's received some attention at various points in various quarters throughout the year, and it typically hasn't been an issue. Yeah. He's just so thirsty, isn't he? And I don't see it being an issue. If he wants to fill his boots against North Melbourne, he'll do it. It probably more comes down to his desire.
And how long does North Melbourne, if they do have a run with roll, like how long do they persist with it? Like is it an all game thing? Because I imagine if they're smashing them and at the last half, like he's looking for his.
Xavier O'Neill proved that wrong. Didn't he last week? It's persisted with that. But you get the impression that Nick Dacos is a guy, like regardless of the score, he's going to get his, isn't he? So
the only thing is he's on the Sunday, so you have to put a straight C on him. And I've been on the record saying that it always makes me nervous. But I think just the North Melbourne matchup is very juicy. So with Drury dropped now, there is a potential for you to maybe do a Zach Merritt VC and back it up with a Nick Dacos C if you don't have Andy Brayshaw, which I do really like. Number 4, we've got Timmy English at Gold Coast.
Is Witsy hard to score against?
He is, but Tim English is just Tim English, and
he is.
I think that he's the kind of guy that just thrives, especially in those slippery conditions. It doesn't matter for him.
He's so clean.
He's got the cleanest hands in the AFL, I reckon. Like he is.
For a ruckman?
No, I
reckon
he's got the cleanest, like in terms of just catching a mark, he is next level in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not too bad.
Yeah, he's just again the highest averaging player in AFL fantasy.
He sells himself, doesn't he?
He's just the guy there. Tom Green, I have at number 5 at Geelong. Again, a little bit of rethinking here. Typically, Geelong have been a tough matchup, but again, they've been giving up scores with a lot of their injured midfielders. So Tom Green could go big against them. And Zach Butters at Richmond. So my top 6 I actually really like. Zach Butters at Richmond, obviously coming off that 148 against Richmond in a positive matchup on Sunday. I think any of those 6 are a really good option there. And I think a lot of people will be doing an early VC, so potentially could, if you have like a Drury, for example, go with one of those later guys, VC them, and go into one of those Sunday boys because...
Yeah, you could get a leg up there.
You could get a leg up. Your thoughts on any of those boys? Anyone that jumps out to you? Or
To be fair, I didn't look too much past Merritt and Brayshaw because I own both of them, and that's my plan. So
Jesus, nice to be the Oxlongs, hey.
If you're not wrong, but if you're looking for any silver lining in all the chaos, maybe it's that you get a better loop option than what you might have.
Well, until Drew was dropped, we had to loop pretty early on in the day. But
I know people hate me saying that. It's a terrible comment. I shouldn't hope any red dots on anyone. But
we've got plenty to choose from.
Yeah.
To round out the top 10, Tim Taranto against Port Adelaide, equal top scorer for the game, but Port Adelaide we know are a tough matchup. Bont against Gold Coast, he's got big numbers against Gold Coast, and it's obviously in ripping form. Rory Laird, I wanted to put higher, but against Brisbane, it's a tough matchup. They haven't been getting up many scores. Yeah. And Jack Steele versus Hawthorn, still just a little bit worried about all of his knee and shoulders and everything issues, but he's still Jack Steele and put up a big score last week, so perhaps he is over it, but he comes down to the bottom of the list. So they are my top 10. Nice. Tweet him out later, so if you have any questions about them, or let us know what you guys are doing with your captains. I'll probably be going Andrew Brayshaw into Merritt, although I am tempted to go Merritt into Dacos, just to be a little bit different, because I think Merritt will be a popular captain this week. And I don't know, there's something about like VCing him when everyone else is going to be giving him the C, that if he does
if he
flop.
If he does flop.
Do you know what I mean? And if he goes well, I can still get it. If he flops, then I've got a second chance. So those are my I've got Brayshaw at 2, but I'm still potentially weighing up the option of doing a Dacos as my C.
I think it's fair enough list, mate. You've been doing well. So
yeah, let's go.
Pay attention to the big boys. Should we do some spicy takes?
Yeah, let's go. What's up? This one's highlighted red, so I know, this one's the right one.
This is Spice City. Let's go. Well done, mate.
Righty.
Right side grab.
Hot takes. Let's go with yours first. I like what you've got written here because it's one of my pet hates.
I expect that the commentators will call... I don't know how to pronounce...
I was going to say, what's his name?
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the young player... I was about to say. I expect that they will...
Oisin Mullen,
the Irishman. I expect the commentators will call him the Irishman in excess of 20 times during the coverage.
Yeah, well...
Someone look out for that for us.
I want an Irishman tracker.
Yeah.
If someone watching that game can track how many times he's referred to as the Irishman.
That might not even be a spicy take. The commentators just love that.
Well, I think the spiciest bit about this take is you've said in excess of 20 times, which, does that mean he's getting 20 touches?
I reckon they'll find a way to say it, even if he's not touching the ball.
They'll just talk about it.
The Irishman's on again.
Because they can't help it. And I even did it. I think we were talking about Conor McKenna earlier in the season, and I even did it. It's just like a reflex thing that you do because obviously, that's what, that stands out about him. But yeah, it is a pet peeve of mine because
spicy take.
Yeah,
in no way related to fantasy, so it's a pretty shit one. But
nah, I like it. Call him out. I want that Irishman tracker. My spicy take is that I'm gonna piggyback on your spicy take from last week, but I'm saying this week 4 Bombers go 120 plus against the West Coast. Name them. Merritt. I'm going to say... I'm going to... Actually, hold up. Let me have a look at their team here.
He's going to go 4 to go by D+.
Hold on a second.
Mitch Parrish. Setterfield.
I reckon Hobbsy gets there.
Hobbsy gets there? Yeah, okay.
I reckon...
Hobbs goes 120 plus.
Yep, I reckon. Hot take here, I'm going to say... Who's the guy that everyone's been hating on? I'm blanking... McGrath. I reckon McGrath goes 120 plus.
You think the defenders are going to wax?
They're going to chip it around. And let's say... Who kicks a bag for them? I reckon Stringer goes big as well. He'll have his...
Jakey Stringer.
He'll have his 2 out of 3 good games for the year.
If Jakey Stringer goes big, there's every chance that the Bombers get up. When he's on, he's on. I know you don't like him, but when he's on, he's on.
Oh, I just think he's overrated.
I just got to give Brookie a call back. She just texted me.
Yeah, all good. So those are my spicy takes for this round. Let's with that one there, we will go on to some questions. So, Lucky, I'll take the wheels here and let's answer some questions, guys. So, if you are watching along over on YouTube, drop your questions in the YouTube comment section there. We'll walk through them here. So let's go through a couple of these guys. Who have we got? JJ and Cowan to Humphrey and Wardlaw. Bring in Hobbs or bring in a Hobbs. This is a very tough question with the JJ injury. I do think now, obviously, if you go into Humphrey and Wardlaw, you're banking a decent amount of cash, but I would still prioritise getting a Wardlaw over a Hobbs just to make sure you get that player, get that cash gen moving forward to the buys. And I think if you're going to carry cash in any round, carrying it into the buy round where you have 3 trades to use the cash next week, I think that's the perfect time or the best time to do that. So for those of you who have the Bullets copying and you don't have a Wardlaw, I would still be okay getting in a Wardlaw and carrying probably potentially a lot of money into round 12 because you could potentially do a double upgrade next week with 3 trades as well as fixing some of those red dots.
New questions just come through. Ranked 300. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Lakey.
Cop the jelly bullet. Do we move to Laird or go with a point of difference? We kind of touched on this before, isn't it? What are your thoughts?
The pod with Doc, I like. I think this is the buy that's the splitter for me.
Yeah.
Without knowing your team, Lakey, most teams that I am aware of are very heavy on that round 15 buy.
Yeah.
We've got North Melbourne with Sheasel and Zeeble. We've got Port with Butters and Rosie.
Yeah.
We've got the Bulldogs. We've got the Giants. So a bunch of different players there. So we've got Taranto and Richmond.
Yeah.
So I think for me, Laird is probably the play there. He's probably got a higher ceiling as well. So for me, he's probably the guy there. But I do like Doherty. But again, it's just that buy round that takes him down a notch for me.
Absolutely. Keep your questions coming through, guys. Even if you asked them before, we'll try and answer the ones that are coming through right now. It just makes it a bit easier for us as well. JJ and Kelly to Dale and Cogs.
Yep.
Or are you going to Wardlaw and Laird and banking a fair bit of coin there?
Again, this is normally I wouldn't say this, but I am choosing Wardlaw and Laird of those options. I just think Wardlaw is extremely important this week. 310k is more than I would love to carry if you can get to premiums. I'll call Dale a premium, but next week you'll have that cash to double upgrade and you'll get the price rise of Wardlaw this week, which I think will be in excess of probably 50k this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going there as well. 310k. I know we don't feel good about holding it, but it's a weird old season at the minute.
This is the week to do it, right? Like next week, you can do a lot with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And even if you have carnage, like if you get an injury this week, you can fix that with one trade and have 2 other trades to do it 1 down, 1 up. So
still going to help.
It's the best time to hold cash.
Should we just give a bit more airtime to this Humphrey versus Hobbs debate? Because I just feel like there'll be a few people that might be making that decision because we're looking at fixing red dots, and these guys are the guys that are within like a distance of being able to.
So what are you doing? I think I said before I'm Hobbs just, but if you can't afford Hobbs, I'm not unhappy with getting Humphrey.
Like I said before, to trade the guys that I want to trade and get to Hobbs, I'd have to bring in basically a 200k rookie, and I don't think we have any that you would trade in.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth it.
So the more likely scenario for me is that I'm going to go to Humphrey, so that maybe I can, even if I go to Humphrey, I don't even know if I'd be able to go to Weddle. I'd probably still have to trade a guy that is a living, breathing soul. So
Mate, we need those living, breathing souls.
Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah. I haven't had time to touch myself this week, let alone. Oh, fuck, we're down.
The drinks are down.
The drinks are down.
Just shake up some more drinks, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Party in here. So I got to do some deep thinking after this podcast. If only we weren't going to watch
It's my second Great Northern, PJ, thank you. But yes, I am nursing it a little bit. Well,
Called out.
Yeah. My bad, mate. Well, has Luke been touching his mic? Because I haven't been paying attention. If you guys have noticed him touching his mic and haven't been telling us, well, firstly, shame on you guys. But if he hasn't, good on you, Luke. It's
the people watching.
You've been fighting the urge.
The people watching closely are the ones licking the floor, so they might not be able to comment.
Yeah.
Let's see what Bowles has got for us. He's going to grab Humphrey and Weddle this week. Didn't end up getting the Hump Bear last week, so correcting that. I think those are decent trades, and that could even be where I go, I think, to be perfectly honest. I'm
doing a similar thing with Humphrey and Wardlaw because I didn't grab Wardlaw last week. So I think of a similar kind of mindset.
Good of Luke Beveridge to tune in here with this comment.
Oh, Lukey Beveridge.
So, Luke.
Hey, Luke. Well, I've got a question. Firstly, before we answer Luke Beveridge's question, Luke, I've got a question for you. What are you doing with Bailey Smith when Treloar comes back? We'd love to know.
This poor bloke's name probably is Luke Berridge, and we're stitching him up. So, Luke, thoughts on being gutsy and trading out Sheasel with the potential role change? If you've dodged all of the carnage now and you're thinking of that you must be in a
luxurious position. Look, it's a play, but I think it's only a play. It's only a play if you have green dots coming out of your ass. Like I would have thought of it more seriously if we didn't have the carnage and rookies that we just had this round.
Yeah.
Because there is a potential that he is a guy that we move. I think it's more likely that if that is something you're contemplating, you do it at his buy round at round 15 because it is that heavy buy round, and you could maybe move him to a Sicily or one of those other guys in the defence line that are coming off their buy.
This is an interesting one. Well, what are your thoughts on someone there said, is it worth going Fahey this week, just in the assumption that surely he's going to, it seems a bit of a waste. You're not getting anything for it this week, and you're not guaranteed to get anything next week. Like, we've been thinking for 6 weeks that he's guaranteed to get selected.
Exactly.
They had injuries this week. He still didn't get selected.
If he drops a 160 and only comes on as a sub, then any shit performance, you'd have to think that he's not guaranteed a spot in the team the week after. So I want to have eyes on it. I want to see it, especially when we've got those other options with low break evens right now.
And barring an injury early on in the game, he's not going to get away from you in
break even's 25. If he gets on for a quarter, like he's probably not even making that. So
a lot to get there.
I wouldn't jump early.
Chincotta and Wagner to Hobbsy and McAndrew, or to Humphrey and Johnson.
Chincotta and Wagner to Hobbs and McAndrew, or Humphrey and Johnson. Okay, this is tough because I don't like either of those round 12 guys. I think I'd probably go McAndrew over Johnson. So then that leaves me to the first one, Hobbs and McAndrew.
Hobbs and McAndrew.
Just because I think, obviously, you've got the low break even. I think he's less of although he's a ruckman. But I think... yeah, I'd probably prioritise that. I like Hobbs a little bit more than Humphrey. I probably like McAndrew a little bit more than Johnson. So I'd probably lean that way. But I don't know. Could you go? You're going Hobbs and McAndrew. I'd rather go Humphrey and
McAndrew.
No, I was going to say.
Well, he's got Humphrey and Johnson there.
I'm assuming this person's already got a Wardlaw.
Must do.
Could you go a Humphrey and like a Weddle? I'd rather do that than like choose a Hobbs. I'd probably rather do that and then get one of those round 12 guys, because I'd be worried that the round 12 guys are not there come round 13. They have their bye. Yeah, and you really want them to be there for that round. So, I
like this comment. If Mitch sculls his beer, Merritt will go 150. There's no chance of Mitch sculling his beer. I'll put it straight out to you. If he sculls his beer, it's going to end up all down the front of his Celtics shirt.
I can drink a beer.
Can you scull a beer?
Yeah, I can scull a beer.
I didn't take you for the kind of guy who could scull a beer. And you know who can't scull a beer for shit? This guy.
I could drink a beer, but I'm not.
I talk a big game with all these drinks in front of me.
I'm trying to enjoy my beverage.
Shit house on the piss. He's trying to enjoy his beverage. Righto, Merritt's not going 150 then.
He's going 170.
Oh, poor bloke. His name actually is Luke Berridge. Sorry, mate. Appreciate you listening in. Let's get a couple more questions in, hey?
Yep.
So
746k for any position and picking between Shee or Simpkin. But someone suggested going Humphrey and saving cash for next week. Is it worth going that low, or who would you take with 746k? I potentially think it is worth going that low. It depends on your team, and I'm assuming that for you, Chicken Lentil Soup, excellent name there, that you are in the same boat as a lot of other coaches and have a lot of red dots on your bench, and cash generation is going to be tough for you with that situation. So I think for me, grabbing a Humphrey this week is probably the priority. Having that cash, making sure you get a big upgrade next week.
Yeah, in that particular price bracket, the best you might be looking at is
Matt, Miami in 6. Get out of here, mate.
Miami in 6. Jimmy Buckets.
You can leave. Thank you.
Jimmy Buckets fan. No, don't tell people to leave. Stay around, Matt.
Change your mind, or you can leave.
We love you. Calvin can scull a beer. DT Talk tuning in.
Hey, shout out to the boys.
That'd be the Warn Dog, wouldn't it? Surely. you boys coming over to Perth. We get some tickets to Perth, I reckon.
Don't you have something coming up soon that you're gonna have to stay in Brisbane for?
Well, having a baby or not, I think we can make our way to Perth. Brooke won't mind, will she?
Yeah. She can handle the newborn. That's
Hey,
all right.
Yeah, she'll be unreal. She'll take care of the newborn. We'll go drink beers with the traders. So sounds like a plan to me.
But I don't know off the top of my head when the DT boys are heading over to Perth. But if you guys are listening along over in Perth, make sure you check it out there. We were in the Brisbane one, and it was great catching up with everyone. And
it's good fun.
Yeah, good catching up with the boys there. So if you're in Perth, get your I don't know if it's a free thing. I'm butchering it again. Another advertisement.
You can't
but
plug, mate.
I cannot plug for shit. But head over there. They are great fun. All right, let's do maybe two more.
Two more questions.
Bales will be there too in Perth. So all the more reason to get there.
Shit, we're going to get FOMO. We're going to have to go.
Yeah, all right. Book the tickets this afternoon.
Let's scroll right back to the top. What do we got? Do I go Oliver and Hollands to Merritt and Hobbs or to Butters and Simpkins? So now we're talking a question that's more at that bullets at the high end. What are you doing?
Oliver and Hollands. See, I would love to have traded Hollands, but because he's probably going to go down in cash. But now with those red dots, again, it's tough to know without these teams and how many red dots people have on their field. But
I still feel like I go Merritt and Hobbs rather than Butters and Simpkin if I was going to do that.
I would probably do the same too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think Simpkins a risk as it is. Butters is probably sort up his price.
Round 15 buys as well.
You got 2 round 15 buys there
you're heavy on
versus
that.
2 round 14s.
Yeah.
I'd be going Merritt and Hobbs over Butters and Simpkin.
Okay, one more. This one. Better to trade Chincotta and Hunt to Humphrey and Hobbs, or Wilmot and Hunt to McAndrew and Baz.
This is tough. Again,
well, Wilmot's playing, so I'm going Chincotta and Hunt to Humphrey and Hobbs.
I'm probably doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It feels like like everything I'm about. I'm always about getting those premiums, and any other week I would be saying, yep, get Bailey Smith. He's going to be in your team for the rest of the season. He's the guy that you want. But just this week, I think we're going to need that. And just speaking on those philosophies, like I've sort of been reflecting a little bit, and I've sort of been saying, like, let the upgrade dictate your downgrade, but it's shaping up this season so far that the guys who are going to be successful at the very top there are the guys who have done the right downgrade targets. So if you've got your Humphreys, if you've got your Wardlaws, if you've got your Weddles, if you jumped on that Port guy, what's his name? That defender guy. He was a good player to target, where I think he was a sub 1 week, but then he was a bit more expensive. I'm blanking on the name. It'll come to me. But like paying up for those more expensive rookies that we know are solid has seemed to pay off so far this season. Dylan Williams is the guy I was thinking about. Yeah, those kind of players, typically in seasons past, I've just not really considered because I want to have that extra cash to make the right upgrade. But I'm thinking this season with just the sub rule, it's probably, in hindsight, it's been the way to go with those better rookies to get the cash generation. So
definitely learned a lot this season, I would say.
It's been different.
I haven't played too long, but
still a lot to play out,
feels
obviously.
Like
but I think this round, especially with the buys just around the corner, that's the way I'm going.
Warnie reckons they got a video coming out soon that
we'll feature it.
Hey.
Hopefully,
do not release that video, Warnie.
Hopefully,
that will be a shit show. Do not put us in your video. My days. Should we wrap this thing up? Yeah, let's wrap this thing up. Any last comments before we finish up for the good people out there for their fantasy round 11? Thanks to everyone for tuning in, guys. As always, we can't get to everyone's comments, but if you leave them for us on Twitter and YouTube, if we're watching The Little Mermaid tonight, we're getting dragged along. We can't reply. We can't watch the footy, but got to keep the girls happy as well. Look after your girls was a saying that used to get around at the footy club. Look after your girls. I don't know whether it was. I don't know how it was. I reckon if I'm going to the footy, Ellie needs to look after me. She's the fighter. I can't wait to show her this video because Mitch is in the doghouse big time. Hey, well, hold on. No, she's the one fighting kids at footy games and all this sort of stuff. She's got the gloves up at footy games. Anywhere else, I'll look after her. But thank you. Yes, I echo those sentiments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Freddo cake. Hey, up the boys. Let's give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Good luck in your round 11 and hope your trades fire and your captains go big. And we'll see you guys next week. Laters.